All right, so your quiz is going to be on 4.1 through 4.3. That's 3 lessons. You do have some things to memorize, and I put them at the top. 3 things. You need to know standard form, you need to know vertex form, and then you also need to know that formula for standard form to find the axis of symmetry. So let's start. Here we go. Number 1. We're given this function. Which form is this in? Vertex form, yeah. So it's in vertex form, so my first step, part A, is to find the vertex. And when it's in vertex form, you can find that right away. So what is the vertex of this parabola? -1, -5. Perfect. Always the opposite of the inside and the same as on the outside. So -1, -5. The axis of symmetry. Make sure you write x equals. The axis of symmetry is a vertical line, and all vertical lines are x equals a number. And what number is that? X equals -1. It's always the same number as the vertex. The y-intercept. I'm going to get some people on this one. The y-intercept is not -5. And some people think it is because they see that as the last number. That only works for standard form. Can y be -5 when x is -1 and 0? No, it can't. Okay? So the y-intercept is found by plugging 0 in and solving. So you would do 2 times 0 plus 1 squared minus 5. Okay? It's not going to be the number on the end in vertex form ever. Pretty much ever. All right, so what do we get? -3? All right. And now we're ready to graph. So we have enough points. We can graph this out. So we'll go to -1, -5. And then my y-intercept is at 0, -3. By the way, it's a really good way to check that. You see this 2 right here? I would go up 2 and over 1. So that's perfect. Nice. I also get a point on this side. You do not have to draw the axis of symmetry if you don't want to. But if you visualize it, you know that this is a reflection over to this side, and so you get your 3 points. There you go. All right, so what is the minimum? What is the lowest that this graph goes to? -5. Domain, if you get this one wrong, I'm going to mark you off like 10 points. All real numbers. All the time, someone's going to get it wrong on purpose.
That would be me.
Yep, you would totally do that. Just to be like sarcastic, huh?
Yeah.
Did you like that announcement this morning about the procrastination club?
Was that you?
No, that was Ryan, I think. Go on, yeah. All right, and the range is y is greater than or equal to -5. That was hilarious, though. Did you guys read that one? Yeah? The procrastination club meeting has been postponed. All right, number 2. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but it's just in a different form. It's in standard form now. So our first step in standard form is to find the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is found by doing x equals -b over 2 times a.
What was the domain of the first one?
You got me. The domain is x is greater than 2. Write that down on your quiz tomorrow. Okay, here we go. Axis of symmetry.
You know I'm going to remember that. You just put that on there deliberately.
What do you get? X equals -2? Is that what you got? Did I do that right? Yeah. 4 divided by -2 is -2. The vertex. The vertex is found by letting x equal -2 from the axis of symmetry, and then you plug it in. Okay? People forget how to find the y, but if you have an x and you have an equation to find any y, just take that x and plug it in. Now, be careful. We have a -2 squared minus 4 times -2 minus 3. If you're going to put that into your calculator, make sure you put parentheses around -2 when you square it. So I get -2 squared is 4, but then there's a negative on the outside. -4 times -2 is 8, and then I have -3. So what do we get? 1? 1. If you get some outrageous number, you're probably wrong because I made them so that they're going to fit on this graph. All right, the y-intercept is to let x equal 0, and this is easier to find because if you plug 0 in, you get 0 minus 0 minus 3. And now we're ready to graph. So I'm going to graph my vertex, -2, +1. And then I'm going to graph my y-intercept down here at -3. You could also, if you wanted to, just go down 1 over 1 and get some other points. And then I also have this point over here on that side. So there is an axis of symmetry through here. And so my parabola must be symmetric over that axis. There you go. How's yours look? Pretty good? Better than mine? I doubt it. All right, the maximum. The maximum is, how high does this thing go? 1. Okay? And if you notice some things happen every single time, like for example, this -2 is always this -2, and then this number here is always this number there. Okay, that happens every single time. Domain, Harry? All real numbers. Mm-hmm. And then the range is, what's the range here? Good. Y is less than or equal to +1. So 1 is the maximum, so everything below it. Yep. How are you doing so far? That's 14 points on your quiz. It's the whole front side.
Whoa.
14. Yeah, out of 25. Now let's do the rest of it. The rest of it I think is harder. I do. Yeah.
Sorry, why is it not -1?
Oh, because this is +1 up here. Yep. And look at your graph and check your answers. Okay, here we go. Number 3. We're given this in standard form, and I want you to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex, and then we're going to rewrite it in its vertex form after you find those things, okay? So, you want to try this one? Yeah, you try this one. So we're going to do x equals -b over 2 times a, and so I get x equals 2 as my axis of symmetry. So far, so good? Yes. Then take that 2 and plug it in. Now these are pretty big numbers, so I'm just going to use my calculator. So I'm going to go -4, oopsie, -4 times 2 squared plus 16 times 2 plus 10. 26. Were you kind of alarmed at that?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? See, I don't have a graph that goes with this, so I can do any numbers I want. So I kind of make them a little different. Now, rewrite in vertex form. Okay, here we go. Y equals, vertex form is A. What's A in this problem? It's -4. People will forget that, and that's like the easiest part of this. It's the same number here in standard form that it is in vertex form. And then we do x -2. Here's another place where people will get this wrong. Guess what they forget? They forget to square it. And then plus 26.
What noise is that?
All right. Oh, number 4. Here's the one that a bunch of you can do in your head. So try it. Find the equation. I can't do this in my head. Find the equation for the given parabola, given the vertex goes through the point. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the vertex in. X -1 squared plus 3. Okay? Now I need to find out what A is. So I'm going to take that point, it's a specific point on my graph, it's an X and Y value, and I'm going to plug them in. 21 goes in for Y, 4 goes in for X. Okay, so I get 21 equals 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 squared is 9, 9 times A is 9A. Can you do all that? Plus 3. Subtract 3 to the other side. 18 equals 9A, so A equals 2. Now don't forget, go back and plug it in. I want the equation of it. So Y equals 2, X -1 squared plus 3. There it is.
How
Okay.
come polos are always depicted as fat and cartoons?
Yes.
They don't have
Yeah,
food.
they don't have
They're not
food. I
fat.
know, right? Okay. Number 5. This is what we did today.
Was that on recording?
So, yeah. It's okay. It's very, very fun. Use your calculator to find a quadratic model to fit the set of points. They give you 3 points of a quadratic equation, and you're supposed to fit a quadratic model to this. The book teaches you doing this by hand. Because you spent $125 on this calculator, you don't have to do it by hand. You get to use your calculator. So, yes, I know. I know. At first you're like, what? This calculator is so expensive. But it does so much. So for L1, you're going to go to your calculator, and you're going to plug in all of the X values. Okay? And L2, you're going to plug in the Y values that match. So let's do that. And this one's going to turn out perfect. You know how all those ones we did before were decimals and gross? This one's going to be really nice. So go to Edit and clear your lists. And then we'll put in -2, 0, and 2 for the L1. And -18, -4, and -14. Okay, so go to Stat Calc, number 5, and there it is. Perfect. So we get y equals -3x squared plus 1x, or just plus x, and then -4. And do you see what r squared is? Did you get an r squared? It's 1. It's perfect. It's 100% accurate. Yep. That is the parabola that fits those 3 points. It's perfect. Okay, last problem. This is probably going to be the one that is most missed on the quiz. This is the hardest one, I think. This is the ones that we did yesterday about the bridge. Remember, we had to find the height. Yeah. So here we go. The path. The path of a baseball is given by this function, where f of x is the height of the baseball in feet, and x is the distance from home plate. So this is what's going on. Let me draw you a picture, a visual representation of this. Do you see that 3 on the end? That's where whoever's hitting this ball is hitting it from 3 feet off the ground. Yeah. So at x equals 0, it's 3 feet. And so think about a baseball, how it travels. Okay? Like that. It's a parabola. What are you doing with your iPad?
There are cat videos.
Because you are distracting everybody around you.
I don't care about.
No, you do. I do. Okay. You're going to go ahead and shut your iPad down.
Oh, man.
I know. Your kitty cat videos are done. Okay.
But they're
Later. Look at them later. All right. What is the maximum height of the ball? So I need to find out what the height is. The maximum height and how far away from home plate, that's the x value, did it go? Okay. So guess what I'm going to find? You're right. The vertex. Yep. You knew it.
Jinx.
You knew it. Okay.
Don't talk to my jinx.
So here we go. By the way, these are kind of switched on this paper. How far from home plate, that's the x. And then the maximum height is y. So you actually have to find part B first in order to find part A. So just to be aware. All right, so x equals -b, so -1 over 2 times A. -0.0032. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug that in. Did you plug it in already? Did you? No? I haven't either. Put parentheses around the bottom. What'd you get? Yeah, 156.25 feet. So that's how far it is away from home plate. What's a home run? Like 500 feet? 400, depending on what ballpark you're in. They're all different. That's so weird about baseball. The dimensions are different. Okay, now take this and plug it in. Plug it into your equation. Okay? So we're going to go -0.0032 times my answer squared plus my answer plus 3. You can actually put it in if you want to, but I have it right there, so I'm just going to use the answer button. And so it reached a height of 81.125 feet. It's kind of a low liner.